If you've ever written a single line of code, you definitely know the feeling. The logic, it seems absolutely perfect, but the result, it's completely wrong. Well, today, we're going to learn a fundamental technique to solve that exact problem for good, the trace table. It's a surprisingly simple tool that lets you see exactly what your computer is thinking.
We've all been there, right? Staring at the screen, totally convinced our code is flawless, yet the output is just not right. It always leaves you asking that one dreaded question that every single programmer knows all too well.
You see, your program runs without crashing, there are no obvious error messages, but it's just not doing what you want it to do. And the culprit is almost always this sneaky little villain, a logic error. The computer is following your instructions perfectly, but your instructions, well, they're accidentally leading it down the wrong path.
So how in the world do we hunt down these invisible errors? Well, that brings us to the hero of today's explainer, the trace table.
So what is this thing really? A trace table is, at its heart, just a simple grid. We use it to manually keep track of the value or the state of every variable in our code as we walk through it one single line at a time. The best way to think about it is like a powerful magnifying glass for your code. It lets you zoom right in and see every single little change, every hidden step the computer is taking behind the scenes as it runs your program.
Okay, so why are they so useful? Well, a trace table forces you to see how your program is actually flowing, not just how you think it's flowing. It is the ultimate tool for testing your logic and hunting down those annoying errors, because you get to see exactly what the computer is doing step by step.
All right, that's enough theory. Let's actually build one. We're going to set up and run a trace on a piece of pseudocode together, right now.
So here's the code we'll be tracing. It's a pretty simple algorithm. It just takes a number from a user, and then it uses a for loop to calculate some final total. Our mission, should we choose to accept it, is to trace its execution from the very beginning to the very end.
Now, the process follows three really simple rules. Think of it like a game. First, you identify all your variables. For us, that's number, counter, and total. Second, you make a column for each of those. And third, this is the most important rule. Every single time a variable's value changes, we add a new row to our table. Simple as that.
All right, it's time to play computer. Let's start right at the top and execute this code line by line, filling out our trace table as we go. Okay, line 1. The program kicks off and asks for a number. Let's just pretend our user enters the number 5. So the first thing we do is record that. Over in our trace table, the number variable is now officially set to 5.
Moving on to the next line. The total variable is initialized. It gets its starting value of 1. Now that's a change, right? So we add a new row and we log 1 in the total column.
And now we hit the for loop. This is where the real action begins. It's set to run from 1 all the way up to our input number, which was 5. So on this very first pass, the counter variable starts at 1. Let's get that down in the table.
Now we're inside the loop. Total gets a new value. It's the current total times the counter. Right now, that's just 1 times 1, which is still 1. No problem. We'll update the total in a new row.
So that's the end of the first pass. The loop cycles back around, and the counter automatically increments to 2. Let's log that change. Back to our calculation. The total is now the previous total, which was 1, times our new counter, which is 2. So the new value for total is 2. Let's get that updated in the table. See how this works?
You're starting to see the pattern now, right? The loop cycles again, and our counter just dutifully increments to 3, and we record this change immediately.
Time for some math. The last total was 2. The current counter is 3. So 2 times 3 gives us a new total of 6. Let's get it logged.
But hold on, the loop isn't finished yet. It starts its 4th trip around, and the counter ticks up to 4. And as always, we log it.
Let's do the math. Our previous total was 6. The counter is now 4. That means our new total is 24. And onto the table it goes.
Okay, we're on the home stretch now. The loop runs one last time because our counter is about to increment to 5, which finally matches our input number. This is the final pass.
One final calculation. The previous total of 24 times our final counter value of 5. That gives us 120. And since the counter has now reached 5, the loop's condition is met and the program finally breaks out of the loop.
And here it is, our completed trace table. Just take a look. You can see the entire journey of each variable, clear as day. The number variable,
It never changed. The counter ticked up faithfully from 1 to 5. And the total, well, it grew with each and every step. It's a complete visual story of our code's life.
So, the final line of the program is to output the value of total. And according to our trusty table, that value is 120. This is the power of the trace table. It removes all the guesswork and just shows you the undeniable truth of what your code is doing. So the next time you're stuck, remember this. Don't guess, trace. You might be very surprised by what you find.